Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Excoundrel AFK Journey here. Today we're going to be covering 5 A-tier heroes that you guys should be investing your resources in to carry you in the later stages of the game. This is so that when you are setting out on your AFK journey, you are selecting the right heroes to go on your wish list to make sure that the copies that you get are not going to go to waste. That is what this video is about. So, what is the difference between an S tier and an A tier hero? For those of you that are new, if I just go to my wish list, I will show you. You go here. And for those of you that don't know about wish lists, you should go and look it up. But essentially, you navigate to this place, and wish lists essentially will guarantee you pools of these types of heroes if they're on your wish list. So an S tier hero is your golden portrait heroes, and an A tier hero are your purple portrait heroes. A tier heroes, and the reason I'm doing this is that in general, A-tier heroes are easier to pull, and you can buy their souls more readily, especially with dream fragments. But, the big but is here, they take longer to ascend to the higher tiers. They require way more resources than I've found when it comes to S-tier heroes. So your A-tier heroes, even though they are lower rarity, they are sneakily harder to get to things like Mythic Plus because they require such a large volume of investment. My Marilee needs 12 copies to go from Mythic to Mythic Plus, and she's required a bunch of copies to even get this far in the first place. So Marilee, and other A-tier heroes, they require a lot of resources. If you look at the heroes that I've actually got to Mythic Plus, Smokey, he's S tier. Cessia, she's S tier. Odie is at Supreme Plus. He required a lot of resources, and he is A tier. Thorin, S tier. Florabelle, S tier. Valor, S tier. I don't know why, keep going through. Iron, S tier. Rowan, S tier. And then I have Damien, who I could get to Supreme. And I also have Viperian at Mythic Plus. And these are both A tier heroes. Actually, funny story, side note. Someone in my comments on one of my last videos basically said, "Oh, Excoundrel, you convinced me to invest resources in Viperian and now it's useless." Buddy, me too. I have a Mythic Plus Viperian. He's not useless. He's definitely can be used. For instance, when you get to AFK stage 800 and you're having to field 2 teams, a Mythic Plus Viperian is going to do a lot of damage. It's just that he's not really meta because he requires you to build like a very heavy healing team, and he doesn't do enough damage by himself to kind of warrant it. Anyway, so what we are now going to do is we're going to talk about my top 5. I'm not going to bait this and do my lowest to highest. I'm just going to go for the first 5 that come to mind. And the first one that's very easily comes to mind is Odie. Odie, if you're going to pick any, honestly, not even just A-tier heroes, if you're going to pick any hero in the game to invest resources in who's going to be ubiquitously useful in almost every game mode, Odie is your boy. He's got insane, PvE progression potential. He has got pretty strong PvP presence, and he's incredibly good in the Dream Realm. Great in boss fights, great in team fights, great in PvP. Odie, if I could pick one hero to tell everyone to invest in, it would be Odie. This man is a monster. And the reason Odie is a monster is his exclusive weapon. It grants you an execute on heroes that reach a certain threshold. Basically, it's to do with the poison damage that you stack up on them. But most importantly, when you get exclusive weapon level 10, he starts with 600 energy. So you start that timer of executing enemy after enemy after enemy much quicker. And also, what's even more important is that Odie gets, I think it's as part of his ultimate, but I'm just going to double check. Odie gains 600 energy when a poisoned enemy is defeated, but only 200 if it's a summoned unit. So when you get to level 2 of his corrosive dart, which is very early on in your leveling, Odie gets energy at the start, and then every time he kills, he gets a reset and just keeps using his ultimate over and over again. And essentially, it can one-shot teams. I'm going to show you now. I am so close to finishing the AFK progress. You can see the difference in power level. It's 1,341 to 2,000, basically 1.3 million versus 2 million. I'm going to show you here just how good Odie is. I can basically auto-battle the majority of these, even though I am down in power quite significantly. So there's the timer starting. Boom, boom, boom. It is ticking. Once his HP drops below that point, Odie will get an execute. It's quite tanky, so it's taking a little while to get there, but we've already got another ultimate popped onto someone else, and he will never ultimate the same target twice. So you'll just see him now. All those executes are stacking up. The snakes are coming down, and boom, that is everyone dead. Primarily because Odie is a beast. And you can see at the DPS check, like Cessia is still doing more DPS because she's AoE, but those executes are really important, especially if you're getting rid of nuisance units. There is something else that's really nice about Odie's execute. It actually stops cheat death mechanics. So Brutus, he will not proc his shield because he will just get instantly executed. Igor will not jump from grave to grave. He will get instantly executed. The only things that can outlast the Odie execute is Thorin's self-revive and I believe Neru's ghost revive. But obviously they don't come back as the original hero. So it's just super strong. And if I was going to tell anybody in the world to put resources into one hero, it would be Odie. All right, moving on to the next one. There's going to be a couple, and these are going to be specifically for Dream Realm. My next choice is going to be Marilee. Marilee is one of the best single target Dream Realm. I'm actually going to level this up. Just by the way, if you have the resources to, you should always try and level up Hero Focus. You get nice stats for free, and it doesn't actually take that many fragments to do it. Marilee is one of the best single target DPSs in the game at Mythic Plus. So, Battlefield Learning. Marilee's attack is increased by 5% when other allies cast an ultimate up to 6 stacks. So basically, she can grant herself 30% extra attack very quickly into the game. Her normal attacks then deal true damage after reaching max stacks. She gains an extra stack of Battlefield Learning when Hyper Focus takes effect every 10 seconds. And then, basically, the stack of attack bonus just goes up the higher your exclusive equipment gets. But frankly, like, getting it to exclusive weapon level 5 is good. And so Marilee becomes one of the best single target DPSs in the game. And then at Supreme Plus, the required no enemy range for triggering hyperfocus is shortened by one tile. So essentially, yeah, she's really fantastic. And it means that she doesn't even need to dance away too far from enemies at Supreme Plus 2. But regardless, it's the Mythic Plus upgrade that makes her such a boss killer, because she is just so good at single target DPS. So if you're looking for someone to invest in for the Dream Realm, Odie and Marilee are both incredible single target DPSs. Marilee much more physical and true damage. Odie's way more magic damage focused. But honestly, she is fantastic. So actually the next person that I'm going to talk about, or the next hero that I'm going to talk about, is one that you don't need to get to Mythic Plus. Actually getting them to Legendary Plus is about all that you need to do. And that's Antandra. Antandra is a very, very good tank at Legendary Plus. Obviously, Mythic Plus is nice. You reduce damage from the guarded ally by 40% for 10 seconds, which is a massive damage reduction, by the way. Like a flat 40% damage reduction for 10 seconds is very strong. So she is good at Mythic Plus as very much as like a supportive tank. But her hero focus increases her max HP by 17% during battle, okay? So just take that into account, right? That's during battle. So when you go and look at her stats now, her flat stats outside of battle is 852k. Now I'm going to quickly just do a quick calculator. So 852 times by 1.29 to be precise is 1.1 million. So she gets 1.1 million HP in battle at Legendary Plus. If I compare that to some other units that are kind of in the realm of Legendary, so let's say Granny Dani. Granny Dani is like just under 800k at Legendary Plus. I expect that to go up by a little chunk, towards where Antandra is, but it's a massive HP increase on these guys. Compare it to my Supreme Plus Thorin. She's not even that far away from 1.4 million of Supreme Plus Thorin when she's only Legendary Plus, and then that's only going to go up. That's going to scale higher the higher ascendancy she gets. So she becomes a bit of a mega tank in battle because of her very useful hero focus, which you get at Legendary Plus. You guys have probably seen me use her in my battles all the time. I'll just quickly show you my comp that I'm using on my AFK progress. You just saw this for Odie, to be fair, right? She's my secondary tank to Thorin over here. I use her actually linked to Thorin as well. Not that the DPS is going to be great, but basically, if Thorin dies a couple of times and like my Antandra's still alive, I don't want Thorin to like knock all the HP off my Cessia. But She's a really, really good secondary tank. And also in the backline here, she has Taunt as well. So you can see Antandra's on the backline currently. When she generates enough energy, she'll end up taunting people off your backline. So wait for it, wait for it. There we go. They're taunting towards her, so she's taking all the damage at the moment. And she's just such a great secondary tank in this case. Cessia is already dead, but we don't really need Cessia. Cessia is nice to have. This is the point. You get to the point in the game where Cessia is just a nice to have. The reason I'm running her is that she is Supreme Plus, so she's just very high ascendancy and still very good. But anyone that tells you that Cessia is bad, don't listen to them. Cessia remains very good towards the later stages of the game. So this is Antandra that I use pretty much all the time, and I use her in my comp alongside my Supreme Plus carries because she's just such a good secondary tank when you get her hero focus unlocked. So yeah, Antandra, my number 3, really, really great. I'm going to ascend her as far as I can get her. I've got 9 out of 10 towards Mythic, so I'm going to get her to Mythic probably tomorrow. And that's going to make it even easier for me to climb. In fact, actually, have I got enough Dream tokens to potentially go and buy her at Mythic now? No, I don't. I wish I could. That would be so nice to... Gosh, if I could do 18 million damage on this, I could technically unlock her. Right, we're going to try and find a comp that can do 18 million damage. It's going to be tough, but we're going to give it a go. We did it. We hit 18 million damage. That means I did it purely for this video. I did it with Koko, Cora, what is this guy called? Kruger, Cessia, Smokey, and Odie. I hit 18 million damage just for this video. We did it. And now we're going to go and buy an Antandra. I don't actually think I wanted to buy Antandra. I think I wanted to buy someone else. I think it was actually Arden. I can get to Mythic Plus. But you know what? Because Antandra is so good for me, I'm gonna ascend her. She deserves it. Go on, girl. You deserve it. Right, should we have a look at her HP increase now? I need 12 to get her to Mythic Plus now, by the way. So we can have a look at her HP increase if I can click the right blinking buttons. She's now got 60k extra HP just from ascending. And then we're going to increase that by 30%. So what would that be now in battle? Let me have a look. 911 multiplied by 1.3. So she's now at like nearly 1.2 million. So getting her to Mythic Plus and then to Supreme and then Supreme Plus, she's going to eclipse Thoran's HP, which makes her very strong. So there we go. I now have a Mythic Antandra in the middle of this video because I managed to hit 18 million damage on the Dream Realm boss. And we can carry on with the video. Okay, so next. Good question. Who was I going to do next? I got so obsessed with Dream Realm, I needed to think about who I'm doing next. Ah, yes, of course. So, this next one, it'll be a little controversial. Well, it won't be controversial, but it'll just be that I'm going to caveat it. This guy is practically useless until Mythic Plus. And at Mythic Plus, he becomes a main DPS carry beast in the Iron composition. If you want to progress effectively with the current hero pool that we have, then the Iron comp is kind of the meta comp for PvE and PvP progression. This guy and Carolina become beasts in that comp. And it's partly just to do with the way his exclusive equipment works. You can see that Hero Focus, obviously, is great, increases attack and battle, but Spring Thunderstorm is basically the reason he's so good at Mythic Plus. Arden inflicts all enemies within the range of the Dark Cloud with entangling roots once after casting Force of Nature. And you can extend the range of Arden's ultimate by increasing this, which, to be honest with you, is kind of neither here nor there. It's the roots, the root duration and the ultimate range going up is kind of nice, but it's not a big deal. But essentially, if you don't know what entangling roots is, where is it? Here we go. Arden summons vines to entangle 2 closest enemies for 2 seconds, dealing 50% damage every 1 second. This prioritizes enemies under the Dark Cloud, and Dark Cloud is obviously his ultimate. So it inflicts everybody with CC. But more importantly, Arden selects a tile and casts lightning strikes on all surrounding enemies within 2 tiles. The damage increasing in dark clouds that cover the area for 7 seconds. The dark clouds will repeatedly strike enemies below with lightning when they are under crowd control effects, dealing 80% damage every 2 seconds. So essentially, chaining your CC together, which means using the Iron CC, then followed by using Arden Ultimate, which should immediately cast on enemies that are currently crowd controlled by Iron. It will then recast on enemies that are affected by entangling roots, because they get entangled for 2 seconds, so they should get a recast after 2 seconds. And then you pile on top of that things like the Carolina Ultimate, etc. You're going to get a massive amount of damage that's stacked up by Arden at Mythic Plus. So that's the reason that Arden is very good at Mythic Plus, and it's kind of the reason why, if you want to genuinely progress at the very end levels of the game, then having Arden at Mythic Plus is a very important idea. I will caveat once again, he is not good, really, before Mythic Plus. He's okay. I use him in the Wilder Tower, but I don't use him. And I only really use him in the Wilder Tower because he is currently already Mythic, so he's got some decent base stats as it is. That brings us on to our last hero. Now, you might say, oh, Excoundrel, but what about Koko? Well, Koko's really interesting. She's very good at just one copy in any comp. You actually don't need Koko at Legendary Plus or Mythic Plus. It's actually nice having the fluffy shield, which is obviously great. And then when you get into exclusive weapon level 3, it removes all allied hero control effects, and they gain 20 resilience, which is super nice. If you manage to get this to like exclusive weapon level 10, that is nice, don't get me wrong. But it's not necessary to have her at Mythic Plus or Legendary Plus. You only want her for her ultimate, which you get at the first copy you get of her. So Koko's, you don't need to put resources in Koko to get utility out of her. She's good in that sense anyway. But obviously people might say to me, Excoundrel, what about Koko? And there's another mention on Kruger. So Kruger, for instance, he gets increased range defense, and then obviously he also gets a shield. One of the things that you'll find about Kruger as you go on in the Dream Realm is the higher ranks you go, he's not very tanky. So yes, it is nice to invest resources into Kruger, but as you've just seen, I was able to get good ranking, really good damage out on the endless Skyclops with Kruger at just Legendary, or like not even that, just Epic Plus. Like Kruger's currently at Epic Plus, so you know I've got no real issues with Kruger currently, and he's only at Epic Plus. So that's bringing me down to my final choice. Now there are lots of good things, lots of good options, and I could suggest Damien, who is obviously very good, also in the Iron composition, and is also fantastic in PvP. Definitely worth putting on your hero list. But I'm actually going to do one that has become more and more apparent to me the more that I've played recently. And it's one that I've neglected. It's Lucius. Lucius is actually a pretty good tank. He's like, his Mythic Plus personally is kind of meh. His Legendary Plus is nice, and his Supreme Plus is obviously great as well. But the more and more I've seen of PvP, the more and more like high tier Lucius can actually be really useful. He is not an S tier hero, like as in like when we talk about tier list, rather than just like S and A tier in this. But like, okay, he's not like a super high end hero that's going to get a lot of appreciation on tier lists, but he is useful. And I found him very useful in especially second team AFK progression. I'm going to try and actually get to... Where's my next second team AFK progression? I'm going to try and get to my next double battle, and I'm going to show you, because I am actually using Lucius in my double battles right now. And if I had him at a higher tier, he'd survive way longer. So we're going to do some more in-video progression here, and I'll get back to you when I'm at the next double battle. By the way, I am just like hands-off, letting my team auto-battle their way through quite literally the last like 40 stages of AFK stages at all. And that is just how good Mythic Plus Odie is, but actually also how good Antandra is as a side tank. Like I'm just going to walk away and get a drink. And this is, I could probably progress to the very end. I probably could finish AFK stages tonight if I wanted to. It's just very good. Hopefully I don't miss a double battle, but this is a boss battle technically, so this might be a bit harder and might require some positioning. But no, we've just killed one. Can we kill Iron before he casts his ultimate? Yes, Iron doesn't even cast his ultimate. Brilliant. Yeah, boss battle, whatever. Okay, we're still not at a... I'm going to come back when we are actually at a double battle. All right, we are now 1 away from a duo battle. And again, I haven't actually touched the game in a few minutes. It's insane how good Odie is at getting through these levels. It's also, again, like I said, it's not just the DPS. It's getting rid of annoying enemies with Odie's execute, which is what makes him so strong. Brilliant. Okay. Boom. Right, now let's turn off. So we're at... I can see an image of Sylvina, which is going to tilt me because Sylvina is annoying. So here we go. Right. So unfortunately, my Cessia is taking huge amounts of damage. Yeah, the knockback on Lucius is criminally underrated. There we go. This is going better. Just need my Thorin. I just need my Rowan to get like 1 ult off. There's an ult from Lucius. Now we just need my Cessia to actually do something that wasn't that. Never mind. Okay, we're going to go back to... With this new tactic, we're going to go back to Confining Shard. Right, let's go. So Lucius is really useful with his knockback. He's knocked Cessia... He's knocked Sylvina off my Cessia. There's a heal that comes through for everybody here. We're going to get, hopefully, a really good ultimate cast. Not actually the location that I wanted the ultimate cast to come through on. Come on, Valor. There we go. Valor's now popped off. Boom! Lucius comes through big with the knockback. He's very good at knocking people away at the start of the fight, which is, again, another criminally underrated part of his kit. And it just kept my Cessia alive from the Sylvina, and then Sylvina got stuck on the Thorin. So he could be really useful for that as well. He also can knock tanks back out of the front line, which is fantastic. You're now going to see my second comp, which is... I think that we're onto something here. Can we replace... Can we do it like this? Like, Koko's not offering much if she's not ultimating, right? So, if we do it like this... Oh, yeah, we actually pulled Cessia to the front line here, so this should be significantly easier. We're going to get another Iron ultimate off as well, actually. Yeah, here we go. It's now Smokey and Mickey versus the world, so he's not going to do anything. Boom! Through the second stage. Sometimes requires a bit of tinkering on these stages. But shows you just how useful it can be to have plenty of options available to you when you get to the higher stages of the AFK levels. But there we go. Hopefully that was a helpful guide for you guys, and I will see you soon.